We talk about inversions when affirmative sentences have the same structure as a question, but they are still affirmative sentences. Okay? As I was saying, there are two main reasons why you need to make this change. There are two main reasons why, or two main circumstances when you have to make this inversion. We talk about inversions when you have to pretend that an affirmative sentence behaves like a question. Okay? So that's the idea. And when I say negative adverbials, I'm talking of words such as, for example, never. You know, it's a negative adverb. Okay? Rarely, seldom. You remember all these negative frequency adverbs, right? Barely. I could barely walk. I was so tired, I could barely walk. I could walk a bit, but... Or hardly, for example, I could hardly walk. Or scarcely. Yeah, they all mean very, very little. Yeah, almost nothing. Yeah? Or with this expression here, no sooner than. So all these negative or very restrictive expressions. Okay, they are not supposed to start a sentence. A sentence has to start with a subject, then verb. That's, that's the standard thing. So when you start a sentence because it's, it's interesting for you, it's dramatic, or you want to emphasize this negative part of a sentence, that's brilliant. You can start with it. But then you have to make the transformation and you have to make the inversion. And the rest of the sentence will behave as if it was a question. But it is still an affirmative. Okay? So you get things such as seldom do you see couples so in love as Mary and John. It's very strange to see couples so in love as Mary and John. Or you could say, you seldom see. That would be the natural way of saying it. Subject, then the other frequency, and then verb. Perfectly normal. But it wouldn't be as dramatic as saying, seldom do you see. Okay? If you start with a negative, it's because you want to emphasize that part in particular. Okay? For example, imagine this couple. They got married thinking they were a match made in heaven. Remember that idiom? Yeah? When they got married, everything was perfect. But later, they realized they were as different as night and day. If you say later they realized, or they realized, that would be better. They realized later that they were as different as night and day. Mm-hmm. Come on, that's not half as dramatic as saying only later, because you're making a contrast. At the beginning, perfect, and then only later did they realize. You see my point? You see why we're making these transformations? Yes. Yeah? Okay. And imagine the third example, you're talking about a couple that are, I don't know, that are going through divorce or something like that, okay? But you want to emphasize that even if they are splitting, even if they are breaking up, at no time did she speak ill of her ex-husband. She never said anything wrong. She never said, or she never spoke ill of her ex-husband. That would be the natural sentence. But if you want to start with a negative thing, never did she speak ill of her ex-husband. At no time did she speak ill of her ex-husband. Okay? Some other negative expressions you might have, for example, the one I mentioned before, which is tends to go together. Little did I know, little did she know, little did they know, whatever. It tends to be with the verb know. Or little did I imagine, something like that, yeah? But again, you say it like that. And the next one, in normal English, you would say something like, as soon as Mary had sat down to dinner, John proposed to her. Pop the question. Okay? That would be normal English. As soon as Mary had sat, or even not that, sorry, no. As soon as Mary sat down to dinner, John proposed to her. That would be normal English, probably. Okay? But if you want to really, really emphasize, imagine a man's about to declare, to propose to the woman he loves. So he's so eager to propose, so nervous, so he couldn't wait for just 1 second. No. It's even more than as soon as. No sooner had Mary sat down to dinner, and then because it's a comparative, you need to use than. John proposed to her. Sounds a bit strange, but that's the way it has to be. Yeah, that's really, really complicated. So this needs a bit of drilling, a bit of practice, probably. Okay? Okay, so as I said, 2 main reasons to make those inversions. When you have negative adverbials, or in some specific conditional sentences that you want to make very, very formal, very, very polite, and as I say, very formal registers, probably just for writing. These cases with conditional sentences, yeah, definitely just for writing. Because if you say them in speaking, they might sound too formal. Okay? Okay, a normal conditional sentence would say something like, if he were here tonight, he would have fun. That's perfectly okay to say. But what you can do, another alternative, is to get rid of if, you don't say it, and then you change the order. Instead of he were he. Okay? If you have a sentence like, for example, you have something like, if I had known that blah blah blah, you could just get rid of this and say, had I known that you were coming, I would have prepared something special for you. Okay? Okay, the example I mentioned before as well, while we were playing the Kahoot, that's typical for endings of emails, business emails, or formal emails, or letters, something like that, yeah. You could say, if you need any more information, or a beautiful expression, if you need further information, yeah. You could say that, that's perfectly okay. But if you want to sound even more formal and more cultured, probably, yeah, you could say, should you need any more information? Should you need any help? Okay? And we have the same expression here. If Mary had not been around, had Mary not been around. Okay?